Good afternoon, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
Welcome to our spoiler review of Wandavision Episode 3. Quick side note, the first two episodes, when I went to IMDb to do our review, had no names.
Oh.
They do now.
Oh, okay.
This one was called Now in Color.
Now in Color.
The last one, Episode 2, was Don't Touch That Dial. And the first one, filmed before a live studio audience.
Which is funny, because those are little catchphrases or whatever that, like, if you said filmed before a live studio audience, it would immediately take you back to like the Dick Van Dyke Show, not Mary Tyler Moore, Leave It to Beaver.
Leave It to Beaver, yeah. And Bewitched and like that stuff. Okay, so we are going to do a full spoiler discussion, reaction. We preface this with what we said in the previous video, which is we have not read the comic.
Right.
We are specifically coming from the angle of we love the MCU.
Right.
And so some references that some discussions that we're going to have is us, like, stuff that we've talked about where we're like, okay, we've heard this.
Yeah. So
we kind of know, like Mephisto, like, is a theory of what's going around and stuff. And so, knowing that, please don't come after us too hard, because we were just saying before we started, I don't know how I'm going to talk about this episode. Like, there's so much, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to wrap my brain around it.
Well, I mean, we could start where we kind of started before we started filming, which was I was talking about my theory.
Right.
My theory isn't it's based on kind of what we saw and a few things that we've heard other people talking about who are more steeped in the lore of the comics and the Wanda and Vision story and stuff.
Right.
So at the very end, it appears that Wanda has thrown whoever
Geraldine is
Geraldine,
but we know it's Monica Rambeau.
Right. Well, we don't know.
We don't know. What's the theory?
The majority theory right now is that it's Monica Rambeau. Has thrown her out of her little Pleasantville.
Yes.
Because she is knows kind of what happened on the outside.
Yeah.
And so she's thrown her out. You see her like shoot out of like this vortex thing. And then
my thought was it was the shimmer from Annihilation.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's like a bubble,
yeah.
you know, and she shot her out of it, and she lands on the ground, and the forces, if they're S.H.I.E.L.D., if they're S.W.O.R.D., if they're the military, we don't know, but some sort of military forces kind of diverge on her, and you see in the background what looks kind of like a stadium, like a high school football field with the lights all the way around it, but those lights are shining very odd colors on the shimmer or causing the shimmer. Right. So my thought today, currently, might change 3 after the next episode, but that something has happened with Wanda. I know that happened in the comics, that she kind of went crazy. Whether it was from Vision dying or from something else, and they have controlled her, sequestered her, whatever, under the shimmer that these lights are
sphere
making.
Of influence.
Yeah, and to keep her from, because as we saw when she went into labor, stuff was happening.
Yeah. When her water broke, it started raining inside the house, and then when she went into labor, like the fire got really big, and the vacuum started going, and the pictures were spinning, and all kinds of stuff was going on.
So that kind of shows that under duress,
a real stork is walking around.
That was pretty amazing.
Fun.
So under duress, her powers kind of lose. She doesn't have control of them anymore. And so they may have put her in this thing to keep her from destroying the world, essentially.
Yeah, she is one of the most powerful MCU characters.
Yeah.
She's super powerful in the comics too, but she is. I mean, she could evaporate you with her mind,
Right?
And she's directly connected to the Mind Stone. Her and Petro, which we'll get into that whole segment in a second. But her, if they put her in this dome, this sphere of influence, this catatonic state on purpose, I'm interested to see what got her there.
Yeah.
If it was just a combination of all the different things with her brother and Vision and
doesn't
everything,
this lead into the next Doctor Strange?
Yes. So they are filming the multitude of Magnus.
Right.
The multiverse of madness. Multitude.
Lots of mamas in there.
And that is all about the multiverse.
Right.
And
so
the multiverse
maybe that is what they go back and kind of explain how we
I'm a theory I heard today from Coy Jandro on Coycast. He was saying that he feels like this, whatever this dome sphere thing is Doctor Strange's doing. It's his doing to keep her, because she's gone crazy or mad or whatever,
right.
And
yeah,
just
absolutely.
kind of keep her in there. But while she's in there, Sword's trying to help her come to terms with whatever.
Yeah.
Mostly probably the Vision thing. But it also, Mephisto is, essentially the devil, and he's trying to gain her powers, and so he's trying to manipulate her in there too. And so they're fighting against each other, and you have the most powerful MCU character whose mind has gone crazy.
Right.
It's like in Logan when Professor X has Alzheimer's. You know, it's that kind of concept. What happens when a mentally strong person loses it, and that kind of thing.
Doesn't have control over their powers anymore,
and their
and
faculties to control those powers.
I don't see. I mean, I absolutely, after this episode, 100% agree that Shield, Sword, whatever the agency is called at this moment, are trying to keep tabs on her, kind of bring her back, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see Mephisto anywhere. Like,
well, that's what I can't say.
Agnes
is
no, that's what you said that people were saying she was.
Yes.
And from me,
okay, I see what you're saying.
I don't see him, her, whoever in any of those people, and we were talking about it because Agnes, and then do we know what the guy Herb Agnes and Herb are talking over the wall when Vision comes back into the house, and they're the doctor has just said it's a small town. Actually, a couple of times I think he said that, and and we can never really leave, right? And then they're over kind of doing the small town
whisper
rumor
gossip thing,
gossip thing, and then Vision tries to get them to tell him what's going on, and they're both on the verge of saying, and then they kind of, we're going to get in a lot of trouble, or, we could be killed or whatever if we tell you. And then she's like, see ya, gotta go. And then she leaves, and then Herb's like, yep, gotta go. And they, I think if she was that, I don't think she would have acted that way.
Yeah. She was more scared.
Yeah.
Than she was like controlling her. Like she was much more like, we can't say anything, we're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like that kind of gives me there's been a little bit of a talk that Dottie, the blonde who's kind of the head of the cul-de-sac kind of thing, that
she might be the
big bad, who's kind of, because who is over Wanda in power. So you have to have that kind of conversation. And how does Dottie have all this influence of everybody else in the cul-de-sac when it's supposed to be Wanda's utopian
show?
Right. It's supposed to be her utopia, right?
Yeah. But then you really didn't even see Dottie in this episode. You saw her briefly when she asked if her earrings made her look fat, which was hysterical.
Which is a great thing. this was the Brady Bunch episode that we kind of felt was coming. When they were doing the intro, it was very kind of Brady Bunchy music wise, but they were like doing Vision and Wanda living in the Brady Brunch world or whatever.
There's not 6 kids, so it was kind of...
And the house was very Brady Bunchy layout with the stairs and everything. It's a kind of flipped a little bit from what I remember the Brady Bunch. The stairs were on a different part of the wall
but it looks enough. And then when they were putting the nursery together, so we've been watching the house flips the Property Brothers first did with, they flipped the well, actually I think it was all of the HDTV builders, whatever, came in and they flipped the Brady house. And now Marsha, I can't remember what her
real
Maureen
name
is it Maureen McCormick?
Yeah, maybe.
She might be the other one. Anyway, the girl who played Marsha, she has her own show, and she's mentioned multiple times that when she was a little girl, she had this giant giraffe, and the studio people took it and put it in her Brady house, in her Brady room, and she never got it back. And she's like, if anybody out there has this as a memento kind of thing, I would love to have that back. And then they're in the nursery, and the giant
giraffe is in the corner, which was a great callback. We have all 9 months of the pregnancy in this episode. We have the birth of twins. So we have the 2 kids that Wanda has in the comics, and one of the reasons that she goes crazy in the comics is that the kids die. So there's that kind of laying there. The conversation that Geraldine and Wanda had after the children were born, the comedy of giving birth and hiding Wanda behind the couch to give birth, and then there's a baby, and it's sometimes a baby and sometimes a doll. Like, it was kind of weird. And then one of the babies was definitely a baby, and the other baby was definitely a doll. And so that was kind of a fun little... I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't care. It works perfectly.
Well, it was very late 60s, early 70s sitcom TV.
Yes. So I want to talk about the Petro conversation. Wanda talked about she was a twin. And she started singing a song. We got to talk about the song too. She started singing a song
in Sokovian, I guess.
Sokovian, it kind of feels like a family lullaby. It's like passed down from one generation to the next kind of thing. And then Geraldine starts talking about, Wanda says
she was a twin.
She was a twin. His name was Petro. She sings. And then Geraldine says, yeah, he was killed by Ultron. And that, boom. It's like, okay. While that's all going on, you have the conversation with Angie.
Agnes.
I don't know why I cannot say Agnes. It's only got 5 letters in it. Agnes and Herb are having this whole conversation with Vision at the same time. And so they're turning the camera in on itself to really show that there's something is obviously wrong. If you hadn't figured it out earlier, here it is.
Yes.
She said Ultron.
Only time, I think that's the first time that Wanda has stepped out of the episode that you're in and talked about her real life.
There's the beekeeper in the last episode, which some people are saying it could be AIM. AIM was a think tank, a scientist in the comics that worked and did a bunch of stuff and whatever. Their outfits were essentially beekeeper outfits, but they had a sword on the back for sword, so the sword symbol. So whatever.
But she said no and got that out,
and it reversed back to the scene before. So this was really the first time where she really started wait a minute, I do remember this and I do remember that. There was a scene earlier where Vision was starting to kind of question what's going on and stuff, and there's a glitch.
And
he
goes bzz.
It's like a harsh. It's not a smooth cut. It's a harsh cut. He goes from sitting on the couch to back to where he had started the previous sentence. And I started screaming out loud, oh my God. So she has control of this world. She absolutely has control of this world. So this world, the idea that Strange is actually the one who put it in this world, I don't believe. I think she built this world on herself and she's running it, and it's her utopia to deal with the loss of whatever it is.
Yeah, well, Strange could have built the tank,
the mechanism
thing that's holding her in there with magic, right? He could have created that thing, and they're holding her in there, and while she's in there, she's just having her little fantasy.
She's having her
life.
fantasy, and her fantasy is based on all of those TV sitcom tropes that everything gets resolved and nothing is really bad, and everything is hunky-dory and everybody's happy in this little town and my marriage is perfect. And with that, you get this idea that Vision, I'm not going to say Vision is a manifestation of her subconscious, because he's questioning stuff.
Yeah.
So there's some version of his AI that is still existing, and I'm wondering if it got uploaded with her,
maybe to help keep her calm,
and stuff. Because there was multiple times where he is not with Wanda and is questioning what's going on.
Yep.
And then questions it with Wanda in the scene,
and she
reverses it. So
right.
He is his own thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is in this and I still think it's probably his AI consciousness is uploaded.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't have the Mind Stone anymore.
Right.
I'm thinking that there's something there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
We have to talk about the song. We've been talking. Oh, the commercial. Fuck the commercial. So the
Hydra soap.
So there was a theory going around that each commercial is a different stage of Wanda's life. The first one was Stark Tech, and it was a bomb ticking. Tick, 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 tick,
oh
tick, tick,
yeah.
tick.
Oh.
And so
like the bomb
that hit them and Sokovia and whatever. The second one was Strucker. I think it's Strucker. And Hydra. Manipulating her and Petro to be mutants.
Was that the guy that like kind of had control of them when Age of Ultron kind of starts?
See, so this one was Hydra soap. I've been racking my brain. We watched the episode like 20 minutes ago. I've been racking my brain what that one is.
Yeah.
And I can't really think of what would be next, because it would be cleansing. The cleansing with Ultron of the Earth would be the only next thing that makes any sense to me, because anything after that, she's an Avenger. And so it has to be, so the cleansing of washing away the...
But yeah, it says the whole commercial is her life is crazy. She's got kids and work and blah, 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 blah. Right. And you know, it's the Calgon take me away kind of commercial. Yeah. So maybe it has something to do with, I thought it was a Tahiti reference.
I thought it was a Tahiti reference too. And how the doctor isn't going to frickin' Tahiti and he's going to Bora Bora or whatever. I was upset about that. Cancun. But yeah, so each one of those is a different part of her, at least from my theory right now, is a different part of her, life coming up to this point.
Yeah.
So and then we have to talk about
the song,
the Monkees. Daydream, Sleepy Dreamer was the last song as she was throwing Geraldine out of the Shimmer. And each episode has had a song from the time period that directly references what's going on in the episode. Yeah. And so this was the next one, and it was a kind of a cold close.
Yeah.
Because Wanda says, she had to go home. She had to go home or something like that, or she had to leave or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they show
her
being excommunicated from my dream, and they start playing Daydream, Wake Up, Sleepy Dreamer. Yeah. So kind of like, hey, you're dreaming, you need to wake up, and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so
Yep.
So, there's a ton of stuff in this, and this is going to be one of those shows where it's going to get done with its whatever 6, 7, 8 episode arc or whatever, and we're going to go back and rewatch it and binge it all together, and there's going to be so many other clues going on that's being laid out.
I think it'll be one of those ones that once we get to the end and know how it ends,
and you have to go
then
back.
You got to go back and like Game of Thrones, you got to go back and rewatch it and go, oh, this is a reference to that. And
we're making references to season 7, and we're in season 2. You know, that kind of thing. So that is our review reaction of episode 2. What did we decide?
Episode 3.
Episode 3 of WandaVision, called Now in Color.
And now in color.
So let us know what you thought of the episode and our reaction to it in the comments down below. Like we said, be nice. We don't know the comics. We're just learning as we go along here. So please be nice. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and follow us on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links are in the description down below. And until next time, cult members, wake up, sleepy dreamers.